Earth's spiritual energy recovers the strong rise. Our protagonist, Linten, was betrayed by his lover and harmed. Even his closest friend was implicated, dying full of resentment. At the moment of death, he awakened the supreme martial Tao system and was unexpectedly reborn to a time before the spiritual energy revival. Carrying the pain and hatred from his past life, Linten vows to defy fate, protect his loved ones, crush his enemies, and reach the pinnacle of the world. Please follow along with Mod Review, everyone. The story begins 3 years prior. Earth suddenly entered an era of spiritual energy. Recovery, humanity began exploring and researching the power of this spiritual energy. Subsequently, some people awakened extraordinary abilities, becoming heroes, who fought against monstrous creatures and were admired by everyone. Safe zones were destroyed by gradually collapsing buildings. Linten's screams echoed everywhere. His entire body was covered in blood and riddled with wounds. A furious voice also rang out, "Li Xiaotong, you rotten whore!" Before he could finish his sentence, Li Xiaotong gently stabbed him with a seemingly affectionate yet deadly knife, causing our young man to scream in agony. She didn't forget to look at him with cold, terrifying eyes. "You animal, you were really tough. Still not dead yet." Jiang Wu coldly walked over and asked her, "What's wrong? Haven't you had enough fun?" Yet seeing him appear, she immediately put on an innocent act and recounted, "Brother Jiang, I finished playing long ago. I was just waiting for you." The man gently embraced her and looked at Linten with disdain, as if looking at an ant. "Linten, your teammates have already been killed by me. Now it is your turn," he didn't forget to taunt. "Before you die, do you have any last words?" Immediately after he stepped on Linten's head, Linten, extremely furious, clenched his teeth and cursed, "You dog couple, you won to have a good death." Hearing this, Jiang Wu laughed loudly and said, "Whether we die a good death or not, I don't know, but there is one thing I know for sure." Saying this, he coldly kicked Linten, sending him flying down from the height, then triumphantly declared, "And that is, you have to die now." As Linten slowly fell, other monsters rushed towards him, eager to tear him apart like a delicious prey. Images of Linten's friends appeared one by one in his mind, causing him to fall into self-blame. But it's too late. It's all my fault. I caused everyone's death. The image of Li Xiaotong appeared in his mind once more. He silently cursed her. "Li Xiaotong, if there's a next life, I absolutely won. To spare a malicious bitch like you." Just like that. He slowly fell towards the mouths of the monsters below. His final thought emerged, "I'll make you dog couple, Jiang Wu, and you pay, with blood for blood." Suddenly, a sound rose. Supreme Marshal. Tao system activated. Host detected in mortal danger, initiating time and space reversal. Due to insufficient host. Score time and space reversal will be executed randomly. Initiating time reversal, 3, 2, 1. At this moment, the image of a football match appeared on TV. Quang Hai shoots goal 1-0 for Vietnam. Linten's eyes snapped open, looking around in utter confusion, not understanding what was happening. He wondered aloud, "What's going on? Didn't that dog couple kill me?" He immediately pulled out his phone to check the time. Right then, a system notification appeared, startling him and making him step back. "Supreme Marshal Tao. System has bound with the host. Please select an attribute type to begin cultivation." Linten wondered confusedly, could it be, I've been reborn? Immediately after, he realized something and shouted, "Moreover, I even got a legendary system." Thinking of this, his eyes narrowed instantly. "Li Xiaotong Jiang Wu, this life I'll make you dog couple, pay your blood debt." Linten stared intently at the system messages, pondering. Judging by the time, it seems I've been reborn 1 month before the spiritual energy explosion. The image of a still normal city appeared before Linten's eyes. The story slowly unfolded. Currently, people are still unaware of the spiritual energy recovery, but it has actually already begun silently. After the spiritual energy recovers, not only humans but also animals and plants will be nourished by it, producing mutations. Countless types of super spirit fruits with special effects will appear. After consuming them, humans can gain extraordinary powers. Images of different fruits and meteorite crystals flashed through Linten's memory. Celestial phenomena will also be affected. There might be rainbow pillars of light like auroras, or strange constellations appearing in the sky, divine fire descending, thunder exploding. and if I can obtain enough good things from them, the power I gain will be even greater. Thinking of this, a happy smile appeared on Linten's face. 1 month is enough time for me to level up. He reached out, pressed the system introduction button on the screen, and muttered to himself, "Let me see what functions this system has." At that moment, the system displayed introductory lines. "Welcome host to the Supreme Marshal. DAO system." Next is the description of the system's functions. The system has a total of 4 accompanying functions: attributes, cultivation, daily tasks, point exchange. Linten saw this and chuckled, raised his hand to press confirm on the screen, smiling with interest. First, I'll choose the strongest attack attribute. Fire to see what powerful cultivation technique I can get. Instantly, the system displayed a notification. Extracting fire attribute, cultivation technique for the host. Please wait a moment. A golden light exploded everywhere. A glowing red crystal appeared right before his eyes, accompanied by system messages. Congratulations, host, for drawing a purple-grade fire attribute cultivation technique. Burning Heaven, Scorching Flame, Art, Fen Tian Li, Yanju, host. Receiving a purple-grade technique for the first time, rewarded with 5 system points. Linten saw the crystal in his hand and laughed delightedly. Perhaps he was very happy to see this, a purple-quality cultivation technique. In my previous life, a blue-grade technique was enough to cause a sensation, yet I actually obtained a purple-quality one. He decisively clenched his fist, causing the crystal to shatter. A golden light immediately emanated from Linten's body, enveloping him. It was the light of fire. Linten laughed, looking around his body, feeling the power surging within him. Is this the power of the fire attribute? This life I must become strong. I can't let others look down on me anymore. Linten immediately stood up, intending to go outside to relax. Right then his phone notification sound went off. The phone screen displayed Li Xiaotong calling. Seeing this familiar name, he frowned, a hint of anger in his eyes. I almost forgot about this bitch. Linten calmly sat down on the chair and answered. What do you want? She spoke loudly from the other end. Linten, I like a bag, but I am short. 20. Quickly transfer the money via WeChat to me now. Hearing these words from her mouth, he instantly became furious and yelled, Transfer my ass! Piss off! Go find your rich second-generation daddy. Don T, call me again. Immediately, Linten hung up the phone. On the other end, Li Xiaotong was a bit surprised that he dared to speak like that. She angrily complained to Zhang Wu beside her, What's wrong with him? How dare he hang up on me, and how dare he talk to me like that? He laughed beside her, asking surprisedly, What's wrong? Is your ATM machine upset? Hearing this, she retorted indignantly, Who knows what's wrong with him? Maybe he took the wrong medicine. Seeing this, he glanced at her and teased Aaron, You going to coax him? She moved closer to him and smiled charmingly. If I have to coax someone, it's only Brother Jiang. Who cares about the life or death of that loser? Immediately after this shameless couple started showing public displays of affection, I bought you an outfit. Wear it for me to see. Okay, Brother Zhang, you re so annoying. Very quickly the scene shifted to the city's people's hospital. Linten walked tiredly on the street, sighed, wiped his sweat, and cursed himself. Damn it. If I knew it would come to this, I should have asked Yuching which hospital she was in from the start. Otherwise, I wouldn't have run to 3 different hospitals like this. Then, memories from his past life surfaced. Yuching sat beside him, recounting everything. Back then, my dad thought I was sick, so he gave me a lot of tonics. Not only did it make me gain a few pounds, but it also destroyed my ice element. Such bad luck. Back in this life, Linten angrily blamed himself, Yuching. This life, not only will I protect you well, but I'll also help you have no regrets after the spiritual energy recovery. Scene changed to another hospital room. A doctor's said voice rang out. What's going on? Doctors gathered around observing the situation and wondered aloud in surprise. Why are all body data normal but the body temperature isn't rising at all? Yuching's father worriedly pleaded with the old man beside him. Old Li, I beg you please save my daughter. The old man had just entered the room and slowly said, Let me check her pulse first. His hand slowly placed on Yuching's frail wrist. A moment later, he immediately turned back and asked old Su, Where did your daughter go recently? The father sadly recounted everything to everyone last month, to celebrate her admission to Tsinghua University. I took her to Iceland. Then we came back last Wednesday. As soon as we returned, she became like this. Old Lee immediately stared at her on the hospital bed and informed the father, "Your daughter has been invaded by cold qi. You need an extremely yang item to dispel the yin qi. I'll write a prescription for you. Have them get the medicine according to it. If you delay it, I'll be too late." Hearing this, the father hurriedly replied, "Thank you, Old Lee. Thank you, Old Lee." Old Lee turned to leave, sighed and said, "I've done my best, but whether she can withstand it depends on your daughter's fate." But surprisingly at this moment, Linten rushed in just in time and yelled at everyone, "Stop seeing this!" Yuching's father asked in surprise. "Who are you?" The doctor beside him also asked in surprise. "Teacher Lee, is this your disciple?" Old Lee shook his head and explained, "No, I haven't taken any disciples." Hearing this, all the doctors grabbed Linten to drag him out, yelling, "Where did this stray cat dog come from? Can't you see this is the emergency room?" Seeing so many people blocking him, he angrily shouted into the room, "Boss, Sue, your daughter isn't sick. She has awakened the extremely rare ice element spiritual energy. If you treat her medically, not only will her body be ruined, but her entire future will also be cut off." The doctors heard this and angrily scolded him. "Have you read too many novels and fried your brain? Get him out of here quickly." Old Lee angrily cut them off. "Stop." He looked at Linten coldly with terrifying eyes. "Young man, how do you know about this ice element spiritual energy? Who exactly are you?" Linten slowly replied to everyone in the hospital room, "Who I am isn't important. The only important thing right now is to wake her up." Old Lee glanced at him and continued proposing an idea. "If that's the case, then please, little brother, tell us how to resolve this condition." He slowly walked forward and announced to everyone, "Fresh ginger, 2 chen aconite, 2 chen cinnamon, 5 chen angelica, 1 chen." Hearing these words directly from Linten, all the doctors stared at him in confusion, thinking, "Isn't that exactly Teacher Lee's prescription just now? How can this kid have such profound medical knowledge? This kid's prescription is exactly the same as Teacher Lee's. No, this kid must have copied it." Old Lee heard Linten's words and slowly replied, "Little brother, your prescription is identical to mine, but it still can cure young Miss Ching's illness." Hearing this, Linten laughed and replied to the old man, "I haven't finished speaking, yet please don't interrupt like that. This prescription is still missing the most crucial ingredient." Linten stood there and declared to everyone, "That is the Stardew Flower, Xing Lu Hua." Hearing this, Old Lee looked at him suspiciously and voiced his thoughts. "Little brother, although according to your prescription, it can indeed help young Miss Ching wake up without harm, I'm afraid the Stardew Flower cannot be found anywhere in this world." The doctors heard their conversation and were startled. What Teacher Lee actually said this kid can really cure the young miss of the Yu family. This kid wasn't lying after all. Sutao Yuching's father also asked Old Lee in surprise, "Old Lee, how much does this Stardew Flower cost? My Su family doesn't lack money, please tell me where I can buy it?" Old Lee shook his head helplessly. "It can be bought." Old Lee continued to briefly introduce the Stardew Flower. The Stardew Flower is famous for its blue star-shaped petals with a sparkling silver center at night. The petals glow faintly like stars in the night sky, hence the name. The sap of the Stardew Flower has healing properties, making wounds heal and relieving pain quickly. Old Lee continued standing there, speaking. "This is what I read in an ancient book. This flower only grew in the era when Earth still had spiritual energy, so it can no longer grow now." Hearing this, Sutao looked desperate, sadly asking, "What doesn't that mean my daughter will be like this for her entire life?" Linten stepped forward to console him. "Uncle Su don't worry. I said I can save Yuching without causing any harm." Hearing his confident words, Old Lee beside him asked, "Little brother, do you mean you have the legendary Stardew Flower?" He nodded in confirmation. "That's right." Seeing this, the doctor beside them quickly spoke up. "Teacher Lee Don, listen to this kid's nonsense. Save him, impossible. Maybe he peeked at the prescription through the surveillance camera in the operating room earlier. How could a brat like him possibly have better medical knowledge than me?" Hearing this, Old Lee chuckled smugly. glanced at the doctor. Then about the Stardew Flower. How do you explain that? The doctor thought for a moment, then answered confusedly. He must be bluffing. That thing sounds like a game prop. Linten stood aside, thinking silently. System opened the point exchange interface. Right. Then, the system immediately displayed a notification point exchange interface opened for the host. What does the host need to exchange? He looked at the items on the screen. AFK farming 3 points, Stardew Flower 5 points, Super Speed Reproduction 5 points, Advanced Resource Pack 10 points. After careful observation, he spoke in his mind. Exchange for the Stardew Flower for me. The system immediately confirmed host has consumed 5 points successfully exchanged for 1 Stardew Flower plant. Seeing this, he triumphantly presented the Stardew Flower plant to everyone and smiled. Stop arguing. Everyone, look what this is. Seeing the rare flower, old Lee was instantly stunned, standing frozen on the spot, muttering, Stardew Flower. It really is the Stardew Flower, little brother. You actually possess the legendary spirit medicine. Linten smiled, closed the box, and said, Old sir, can you believe now that I can cure Yuching? Hearing this, the old man quickly replied, Little brother, I was agitated just now. I hope you can forgive me. Please treat young Miss Ching. He immediately approached her, examined the situation, while those behind him held their breath anxiously. Looking at the girl before him, he made a resolution in his mind. Yuching, this life I absolutely won to let you suffer any harm. He held the Stardew Flower tightly in his hand. The flower emitted a strange light. Immediately after, he brought the flower closer for her to gradually absorb. Seeing things gradually stabilizing, the doctors were surprised and signaled each other. She's warming up. Body temperature is rising. Great. She's stable. Yuching slowly opened her eyes, looking at him with a confused gaze. You are. Linten smiled and gently said, Rest well, we'll meet again soon. Immediately, he turned to Su Tao beside him and advised Uncle Su, Yuching's body has recovered. Next, just buy plenty of nutritious food for her. Hearing this, the father joyfully shook his hand. Thank you, little divine doctor. Thank you so much. Old Lee saw him leaving and quickly ran after him. Little brother, if you have time, could you have a cup of tea with this old man? Linten turned around and replied, Sir, I still have things to do. We'll talk later if there's a chance. Hearing this, the old man looked confusedly at his retreating figure. Little brother, I still don't know your name. Linten smiled and replied, My name is Linten. Night fell. Linten was in his luxurious apartment. He sat working at his computer desk, thinking, I remember in my past life there was a post explaining the cultivation levels after the spiritual energy recovery. Soon after, he found the website. After a moment, Linten exclaimed happily, Found it. Linten finished reading this information and thought worriedly, In my previous life, because the spiritual energy recovery was too rushed when I was killed, I had only reached the third realm iron vein. Very quickly, warm water mixed with precious medicinal herbs was prepared in hot water. Linten was relaxing, bathing in this hot tub. He tried to focus on meditating, this burning heaven. Scorching flame. Art is truly domineering. His face contorted uncomfortably. He resolved in his heart, this life I must strive to cultivate, become strong enough to reach the sovereign realm, Dizun. The scene shifts to another high-rise building inside a luxurious apartment. A man approached, asking Old Lee in surprise, Old Lee, you mean you met a young man who had the Stardew Flower? Could it be this young man also possesses spiritual energy? Old Lee nodded in confirmation. Correct, Director Liu. He continued, voicing his thoughts. I firmly believe this young man must be a genius in spiritual energy cultivation. If he matures, the future landscape of the world will definitely change. Immediately after, Old Lee handed a photo of Linten to Leng Yue and instructed her, Leng Yue, go investigate that young man. She nodded in confirmation. Understood. Director Liu approached Old Lee and voiced his inner thoughts. Old Lee, if what you say is true, then you have indeed performed a great service. Elsewhere, Linten was cultivating to the point his whole body was burning hot. He looked around his body and exclaimed in surprise, No wonder it has a purple grade technique. My first time cultivating it and I've already broken through straight to the second stage of the initial spirit realm. Then he was startled looking at the pitch-black water in front of him and exclaimed in surprise, Holy crap! I only skipped bathing for 1 day. How did my body get so dirty? He quickly got out dressed and continued speaking. Starving to death. I need to find something to eat. Quickly, Linten walked out of the building named 4th Unit and muttered to himself, Gotta go to the nearby convenience store to buy something to eat. Starving. I could eat a whole cow right now. While he was happily walking down the street, a strange person was standing high above, observing his every move. She was none other than Leng Yue, holding his photo in her hand, made her think happily. Found him. Immediately after she threw a round object towards him, her thoughts appearing. Don't disappoint me. Young man. Large explosion occurred behind him, making him turn his head in surprise. At this moment, an evil spirit monster appeared behind him with an extremely vicious look. Seeing this, Linten gave a terrifying smile and slowly said, It seems the mutations have begun. The giant monster charged straight at Linten, ready to attack. Linten smelled a foul stench, quickly covered his nose, and wondered aloud in surprise, This damn dog really stinks. The monster still aimed for him, charging forward menacingly. But he remained very calm and dodged aside, causing the dog to lose its balance. The giant dog suddenly realized something and immediately used its sharp, spiky tail to attack him immediately after he was hit by the giant dog's tail attack. A cracking sound was heard. His eyes showed a trace of anger as he stared intently at the monster right in front of him. He instantly leaped high into the air, catching the dog off guard. Linten slowly raised his flaming fist, looking at it with fury. Let the flames devour you. Immediately after, he directly descended with an incredibly powerful punch towards the monster, shouting, Flame Fist Yan Quan. Instantly, the evil spirit dog spurted blood and logged out on the spot, died. Leng Yue, watching from the side, saw this scene, and her jaw dropped in disbelief. What? This evil spirit dog collapsed to the ground immediately after being hit by his punch. He tiredly stood up, assessed the surroundings, sighed and muttered to himself, Thing that doesn't know life from death. Feeling hunger pangs, he immediately rushed off, reminding himself, Punching makes me even hungrier. Gotta buy food quickly. Leng Yue stood high above, staring at his retreating figure, thinking confusedly, Impossible. What kind of person is he exactly? Killing a stage 1 mutated beast with just one punch. The more she thought, the more confused she became. Fire attribute. He actually awakened the strongest attack type. The fire attribute. Leng Yue quickly jumped down to examine the condition of the evil spirit dog lying there. She was startled to notice that part of the dog's tail was broken off, making her even more stunned. The mutated beast's tail broke. Could it be? The image of the monster attacking Linten's leg with its tail earlier flashed back to her. The sound just now wasn't Linten's thigh bone breaking, but the sound of the mutated beast's tail breaking. Leng Yue stood there in disbelief, watching his retreating figure. How strong is his body exactly? No. I must report this upwards immediately. The next morning, while brushing his teeth, he fell into dejected thought. Today, after waking up, I feel intense pain all over my body as if I'd been beaten up. Looks like I still need to continue cultivating. While he was preparing to shower, the news immediately reported. This is an emergency news bulletin. This morning, the temperature on the summit of Purple Cloud Mountain, Ziyunshan, reached a record high of 81 degrees Celsius. All tourists going to Purple Cloud Mountain, please pay attention to safety. Linten was a bit surprised seeing this, On the TV screen, the anchor continuously announced, Everyone dawned to believe the rumor that high temperatures can eliminate humidity. Please trust in science. This is just the ozone layer being destroyed. Linten leaned close to the TV, staring intently, and fell into thought. If my memory serves me right, the ozone layer above Purple Cloud Mountain wasn't damaged. Instead, an extremely powerful fire attribute spiritual energy awakened there. Seeing this, he hurriedly grabbed his jacket and thought, then I definitely have to go there to absorb this powerful fire attribute spiritual energy. Right after putting on his jacket, he turned around and immediately recognized a familiar figure. He stood there surprised. Li Xiaotong held out her hand towards him, her face ice cold as she demanded, Give me 200,000, I want to buy a bag. Hearing these words, he instantly became angry, scolding her. Are you crazy? Didn't I tell you yesterday not to bother me anymore? Li Xiaotong heard this, closed her eyes, and continued speaking arrogantly. Linten, I know you're doing this on purpose, trying to make me interested in you. But I warn you, if you don't obediently give me the money now, I really won. Let this go. Not paying much attention to her, he continued turning to leave, not forgetting to turn back and curse her. Piss off. Best not to bother me again. Truly disgusting. Elsewhere, Purple Cloud Mountain was enveloped in red, causing all the surrounding citizens to gather and watch curiously. Police officers quickly intervened, continuously pushing people back. Attention, safety first. Everyone do not cross the warning line. It's really 81 degrees inside. This isn't a joke. Everyone, it can really burn people. Seeing this, an angry citizen threw his half-eaten corn towards Purple Cloud Mountain and yelled, "What the hell kind of trick is this? I don't believe it's that hot there." A second later, the boiled corn instantly turned into popcorn and exploded. Seeing this, the surrounding citizens immediately clutched their heads and screamed, "Oh my God, it really is that hot. Oh my God, stop pushing. It's really hot inside." Linten observed Purple Cloud Mountain from the side and thought, "Just as I thought, the fire element energy is really powerful." Immediately after, he leaped high forward. "If I can absorb all the energy here, my strength will increase by another level." Soon after, he dashed close to the inside of Purple Cloud Mountain's summit. Seeing Linten acting more recklessly than rationally, all the police officers shouted in panic, "There is someone who really isn't afraid of death, kid. Come back quickly, you'll be burned alive." At this moment, his body instantly changed. His whole body seemed to feel some new ability. No wonder its fire attribute energy unexpectedly strong. He stared intently at his hand, which was still absorbing this energy, so painful. "Every cell in my body feels like it's burning." Instantly, his body underwent a strange transformation. He secretly resolved in his heart, "This life, I must become strong." Seeing him acting strangely, people outside looked at him and buzzed with discussion. "Holy crap, what's wrong with this brother? Oh my God, is he evolving? His eyes are on fire." Linten heard this, startled, turned back and thought worriedly, "Can't let too many people notice. I must leave this place quickly." Just like that, he quickly left the place, leaving everyone behind shouting frantically, "A deity, there is a deity." Did anyone take a picture of the deity just now? These people immediately took out their cameras to film and take pictures. A police officer also asked in confused surprise, "What happened? It was very hot just now. Why is it suddenly not hot anymore?" His face turned pale as he wondered confusedly to himself. Could it be that kid really is a deity? Scene changed to another place at a large high-rise building. Director Liu was sitting inside the room, notifications constantly sounding near his hand. This afternoon, a mysterious young man appeared on the summit of Purple Cloud Mountain and resolved the abnormal climate issue there, but then disappeared before everyone's eyes. He picked up his iPhone 16 Pro Max and told the person on the other end, "Quickly tell them to suppress the news about Purple Cloud Mountain. It can't be allowed to spread further now, otherwise it will definitely cause massive panic." He immediately hung up and instructed Leng Yue behind him. "Last night you witnessed that kid blow away a stage 1 mutated dog with just one punch, isn't that right?" She nodded in confirmation and slowly recounted, "Yes. Moreover, the mutated dog's attack seemed to cause no harm whatsoever to his body." After hearing this, he turned to look at Lin. Tian's profile information already prepared on the table. It seems that in just 2 short days, we've encountered 2 geniuses. At this point, he frowned thoughtfully. "We can't let other forces get to him first. We must bring Linten into the organization as soon as possible." Director Liu immediately stood up and said to Leng Yue behind him, "Take me to see Linten." Hearing this, she nodded in understanding. Understood. Very quickly, the scene shifted to Linten's room. He was sitting there, focused on cultivating. His eyes stared forward with immense determination, after a long period of cultivation. He looked happily at his hands and thought with interest, "Success, I've finally stepped into the springing fountain, Yongquan realm." At this moment, the system light displayed notifications. Reward for the host. Unlocked 1 attribute slot for a new attribute. Host can simultaneously cultivate 1 more new attribute. Right then, a notification box popped up before his eyes. System synchronized, activating enchantment function immediately after he encountered various skills like LV50, Great Sage Sword, LV50, War God Armor, LV50, Berserker, Axe, LV50, Star Bow, LV50, Divine Axe. The system provided instructions. Host can permanently infuse one element type onto a weapon. Durability will vary depending on the weapon. S material example. Armor penetration enhancement, +7 range, +10 damage, +5%, physical attack, +10 defense, +50%, defense, +6. Damage, +5%. Seeing this, he happily exclaimed, "Doesn't this mean I can craft attribute weapons myself?" Thinking of this, he happily picked up the large kitchen knife. "Old friend, watch me give you a beautiful transformation this time." Right then, there was a noise outside, making him turn his head in surprise. "Who's here in the middle of the night?" Linten quickly went outside and asked the two people in front of him in surprise. "You are." Director Liu quickly presented his business card and introduced himself. "Little brother, I am the president of the Spiritual Energy Cultivation Association. My name is Liu Ying. The girl beside me is my subordinate, named Leng Yue. We came looking for you because we want to talk about spiritual energy cultivation." Hearing this introduction, he remembered something. Spiritual Energy Cultivation Association. Back then, Linten and Yuching were saved by a stranger. They immediately expressed their gratitude. "Thank you for saving us. Thank you, sister." The strange girl immediately replied, "No need to be polite. Everyone should be more careful in the future. I still have a mission to attend to, so I'll leave first." Back to the present, he looked at these two strange people before him, thinking, although I was saved by this association in my previous life in this life, I haven't had any contact with them yet, right? He asked the two people in front of him in surprise. "How did you find out about me?" Liu Ying then showed the photo of Yuching and explained old Li, the one who treated the girl from the Su family, mentioned you. By the way, Su Yuching has now joined our Spiritual Energy Association. Hearing this, Lin Tian thought in surprise, it seems these people have no ill intentions. After inviting these two into his house, Liu Ying asked Lin Tian in surprise, "Little brother, are you really not considering joining us?" He sighed and replied to the old man, "Old Liu, it is not suitable for me to join the organization right now." He continued explaining to the two in front of him, "I plan to cultivate on my own. First I'll think about other things, only after the spiritual energy recovery is complete." Hearing this, Leng Yue stood up and voiced her thoughts to him. "Lin Tian, I know you've become a Stage 1 awakened, but let me tell you, being able to enter the initial spirit realm is just luck. Without the association's guidance, whether you can enter the springing fountain realm is uncertain." She continued standing there explaining, "The future of Earth will change. At that time, only cultivating spiritual energy will be the sole path if you want to become strong, steadily. The association's guidance is essential." At this point, she recounted her own experiences. "At first I was like you, I thought I could awaken smoothly, so I refused the association's invitation. It took me nearly 3 years and I still hadn't reached the initial spirit realm. But after joining the association in less than a year, I successfully stepped into the initial spirit realm." She smiled smugly at this point. "With the association's help, perhaps in just 3 short years, you'll become a Stage 2 springing fountain realm expert." Hearing her recount everything, he seemed startled and asked back, 3 years, "Little sister, how old are you this year?" She thought for a moment and replied, "Almost 21. Why?" Hearing her words, he thought with some confusion, "Your talent is really too poor." Never mind. Not wanting to say things detrimental to unity, he immediately replied, "Nothing. I just think you're a genius." Hearing this, Leng Yue crossed her arms and coldly replied, "Everyone in the entire Cultivation Association is a genius. Genius is just the threshold for joining the association." Hearing these words, Lin Tian was somewhat speechless. Director Liu beside him also continued speaking. "Little brother, when you join our association, you will receive a lot of help, right?" Then, his pocket rang with a phone call. He quickly stood up and said to Lin Tian, "Sorry, little brother, I have an urgent matter on my side. I need to go there right away. Let us talk another day." Immediately after he went outside to answer the call. "What's the matter?" A voice slowly came from the other end. "President, a Stage 2 mutated beast has appeared. It's only 30 kilometers away from your city." Hearing these words, he asked in panic, "What Stage 2? What attribute?" The person on the other end worriedly recounted everything. It's currently unclear, but speculation suggests it has the poison attribute. The original form of this mutated beast is a giant python. Liu Ying heard this, nodded, and said, I understand. Immediately seal off the surrounding area. I will bring Leng Yue there right away. The person on the other end quickly replied, Understood. He immediately stood up, walked towards Lin Tian and said, Really sorry, little brother. I have an urgent matter on my side, need to go there right away. Let ES talk another day. Lin Tian stood in his room watching the two figures leave. He secretly made a resolution in his heart. This life, I must become even stronger. Only then can I avoid repeating the regrets of my past life. He thoughtfully watched the two leaving below. My current strength is probably at the early stage of the springing fountain realm. It seems leveling up later won't be easy at all. He continued looking at his phone. Let us see where else there might be fire attribute spiritual energy. Right. Then his phone suddenly rang. Ringtone, Daddy, you have a call. Daddy, you have a call. Seeing this, he jumped in surprise. Whoa, startled me. Lin Tian immediately answered and yelled, Kui Tianpeng. It's the middle of the night. What are you doing? Not sleeping. The friend quickly replied from the other end. Brother Lin, help, my villa is haunted. Hearing this, our protagonist reflexively scolded back, Are you crazy? What ghost are you talking about? Tianpeng worriedly recounted everything. Brother Lin, I am not lying. Behind my villa's mountain lightning has been striking all day, but there hasn't been a single drop of rain. Hearing these words, Lin Tian instantly understood something. He thought in surprise, could it be this kid has awakened the extremely rare lightning attribute spiritual energy? He quickly looked outside and continued speaking to him. Little Kui, quickly tell me the specific situation of the lightning strikes over at your place. The friend looked outside. Lightning continued to flash across the sky. He worriedly recounted, It is pitch black like the bottom of a pot where I live, but the thunder and lightning won. Stop, Brother Lin, save me. Lin Tian immediately understood upon hearing this. He thought in surprise, correct, this is the scene of awakening. Lightning attribute spiritual energy. Immediately information about this appeared in his mind. Spiritual energy has a total of 3 grades. Common attributes: water, fire, wind, earth types. Rare attributes include ice, light, darkness, lightning types. And finally, one attribute type flashed into his memory, legendary attribute void type. Understanding this, he quickly ran outside, thinking happily, if I put the lightning attribute in the new attribute slot, I've struck gold. He quickly instructed over the phone, Kui Tianpeng, I am heading there right now. Seal off the mountain where you are done to let anyone enter. Understood. Hearing this, the friend looked outside fearfully and worriedly said, In this weather, would anyone come? Elsewhere, Li Qi approached and informed the 2 young men right in front of her, You two come with me on this mission. Hearing this, Xiao Huang asked her curiously, Big sister, where are we going? She thought for a moment and explained to the 2 in front of her. There's a mountain awakening, super strong, lightning attribute spiritual energy. We must collect all the generated lightning attribute spiritual energy before disaster spreads. Lin Tian was currently using a flashlight to head up the mountain. He looked at the mountain range ahead being continuously struck by lightning with some surprise. Soon after, a strange smile appeared on his face. He thought happily, It really is lightning attribute spiritual energy. I've struck gold. Immediately, he pressed confirm on the screen for the add button and the lightning button. The system displayed a notification. Notification. Lightning attribute is a rare attribute type. Required spiritual energy will be double that of normal attributes. Are you sure? He happily pressed the button on the system screen and laughed. Confirm. Immediately after, a white light appeared before his eyes, making him quite happy. Preparing to extract lightning attribute. Cultivation technique for the host. Please wait a moment. Soon after, a strange blue crystal appeared before him. The system immediately announced, Congratulations, host, for drawing a blue-grade lightning attribute cultivation technique, Thunder Prison Art, Lei Lao Shui. Seeing this, Lin Tian held the nurturing stone. Likely the technique crystal in his hand smiled, looked around and said, No wonder it's a rare attribute type. Even though it's a blue-quality technique, this power is too terrifying. Lightning attribute spiritual energy. Here I come. Elsewhere, Li Qi's group of 3 was also arriving to absorb the lightning. Spiritual energy. Xiao Huang looked fearfully at the lightning right in front of him, involuntarily stepping back. He asked confusedly, "Big sister, can we really control this thing?" Xiao Ming beside him also nodded, looked at the thermos in his hand and continued questioning doubtfully. "Yeah, big sister, is the quality of this thermos really good enough?" Li Qi remained cold, took the thermos from his hand and replied coldly, "Too much talk. Give it to me." Immediately after, she sighed inexplicably. She slowly held the thermos forward, absorbing all the lightning bolts right in front of her. Just like that, the lightning was gradually sucked into the thermos in her hand. Seeing this, the two behind her cheered loudly. "Go, big sister is amazing." Right then, the thermos in her hand suddenly cracked. Li Qi saw this scene with some confusion. She quickly thought worriedly, how could this happen? The spirit-gathering vessel couldn't withstand it. Immediately after, a large explosion occurred at the location. The two guys behind quickly hit the ground and shouted worriedly, "Big sister, be careful!" Fierce lightning bolts continued to appear in the sky, striking straight down to the ground. Seeing the situation was bad, Li Qi quickly signaled the two behind her. "Run quickly. The spiritual energy is out of control." Suddenly the three heard a strange sound. Xiao Ming asked in surprise, "What sound is that?" Soon after, she caught sight of Linten approaching. She thought in surprise, a normal person. Impossible. Instantly she reacted quickly, gesturing for him to leave, not forgetting to warn him, "Little brother, what are you doing? Climbing the mountain, run quickly. This isn't a place ordinary people can come to." He smiled without answering her, just ran forward quickly and shouted, "I am here." The three were speechless as he rushed inside. Seeing this, they shouted in panic, "It is over. This guy is definitely dead. Holy crap. What happened to you? Why are you so reckless? Brother, were you cheated on?" The lightning bolts continued to strike forward as if making a threatening display. Linten decisively charged straight into the place, enduring all the lightning power on one side. Seeing this, Xiao Huang and Xiao Ming instantly gaped in disbelief. "Damn, he dares to be so sure. Oh my god, could he be a deity?" Li Qi stood aside also, gaping in confusion at this scene. How is he unharmed? Could it be he has awakened the super-rare lightning element, spiritual energy? He still stood silently there, absorbing this stream of lightning power, stubbornly shouting, "You want me to kneel at your feet? Don't even dream of it." He clenched his teeth, looked straight ahead and yelled, "This life, this sky will no longer obstruct my sight, and this earth can no longer control my heart. I want all living beings to understand my will. I want all Buddhas to have their souls scattered." Linten's eyes clearly showed his determination as he charged straight ahead. "This life, I must become strong." The more he spoke, the more determined he became, absorbing all these lightning bolts. Come on. The lightning bolts were gradually absorbed completely by him. He stood dominantly in the air. Immediately after, he looked at his hand, smiled, and said, "Not bad at all." The system instantly displayed notifications. "Congratulations, host, for obtaining 2 types of spiritual energy, lightning and fire. Do you want to fuse these 2 types of spiritual energy to obtain the legendary attribute, spiritual energy?" Thunderflame Lei Yan. Hearing this, he quickly shouted the command, combine, immediately. The 2 types of spiritual energy quickly combined and circulated around his body. Seeing his goal achieved, Linten clenched his fist, joy evident on his face. "Is this the legendary attribute, spiritual energy? I can feel this power." Elsewhere, it was raining heavily at an abandoned warehouse. Leng Yu slowly approached with 2 subordinates behind her. One subordinate spoke. "According to previous judgment, this mutated beast is a giant python with the darkness attribute." Hearing this, she nodded in understanding. "I know." Although different thoughts appeared in her mind, darkness attribute, huh? This might be a bit difficult. She turned back, gave the 2 different stone fragments, and instructed her 2 subordinates. When in danger, crush this jade pendant. It will create a protective shield with the light attribute, which can save everyone. She kept turning her head back to remind them. In action, survival, and safety are the top priorities. Absolutely, do not force things. Understood. The 2 immediately nodded in understanding. Understood. Hearing this, she immediately looked towards the inside of the warehouse and ordered, "Begin the operation." Just like that, the 3 slowly entered the place. Inside the darkness, a pair of fierce eyes opened, staring intently at the three. Leng Yu sensed something amiss and quickly glanced behind her. Immediately after, she quickly yelled a signal to her subordinates. Careful. A mutated snake was charging towards the three attacking. Seeing the bad situation, Leng Yue's two subordinates quickly threw darts forward, attacking the mutated snake. In just an instant, the mutated snake was immediately frozen solid, standing still on the spot. Seeing the mutated snake frozen, the two laughed heartily, happily, signaling each other success. Only Leng Yue sensed something wrong. She quickly shouted, "Big trouble! You guys run quickly!" The giant mutated snake suddenly spat venom towards the two subordinates, causing them pain. Immediately after, the two slowly collapsed to the ground, fainting. Only Leng Yue was still resisting. She used her radio to contact headquarters. HQ calling HQ Giant Python. Before she could finish, she immediately collapsed to the ground unconscious. The giant mutated python slowly approached her and coiled up. Elsewhere, night was gradually falling. Inside a car, Liu Ying's voice sounded, "Little brother, I beg you." He presented a laptop displaying a screen to Linten and continued pleading, "Right now only you can resolve this crisis." Linten stared intently at the report on the screen. It was information about the giant mutated snake darkness attribute, another rare attribute type. Reading this information, he hesitated thoughtfully. Damn it, if I didn't run out of attribute slots, I would definitely take this one too. The old man stared intently at Lin Tian's serious expression and continued recounting. That girl Leng Yue, life or death, is currently unknown. The only hope lies with someone who has awakened the fire attribute little brother here. Hearing the old man's words, Lin Tian immediately became suspicious and questioned him. "Director Liu, how do you know I awakened the fire attribute?" The old man smiled, scratched his head, and recounted everything. "Previously, I asked Leng Yue to follow you. She personally witnessed you eliminate the mutated dog. Images of the battle between the mutated dog and him appeared. He realized something, so that dog was released by them." Thinking of this, Lin Tian seriously questioned him, "Wasn't it someone else following me?" Hearing this, the old man was startled. His expression immediately became fearful as he replied, "I was only doing it for the safety of the citizens." Lin Tian held up one finger in front of him and continued proposing, "I can agree to go to the factory and kill that python, but you must promise me you want to follow me anymore." Hearing this, Liu Ying quickly clasped his hands and pleaded, "It is settled. Little brother, oh little brother, how many people do you need? I'll mobilize them for you immediately." Lin Tian stood up and dominantly turned to leave, not forgetting to tell him, "No need, I alone am enough." The scene immediately shifted towards the factory where Leng Yue was fainting. The helpless voice of her subordinate sounded. "No." She tried to regain her composure, raised her head to look forward. The giant mutated snake was swallowing an innocent person into its mouth. Beside her, the remaining subordinate screamed helplessly. She saw this scene stunned but unable to do anything. The giant python relies on devouring a cultivator to evolve. Leng Yu slowly stood up and scouted the situation confusedly. She thought worriedly, absolutely cannot let it evolve successfully, otherwise the citizens around here will suffer a terrible disaster. The mutated python suddenly sensed something. Instantly, the giant python charged straight towards her, intending to attack. Seeing this situation, she quickly reacted, thrusting her hand forward to attack and shouting, "Bring it on!" Instant reaction. Leng Yue immediately used her own ice attribute power to land an extremely strong punch on the giant python's neck. But a second later, the ice crystals in her hand instantly shattered. Her eyes widened further in shock. She stared forward confusedly and wondered, how is this possible? The giant mutated python immediately flung her backward forcefully. Leng Yue lay painfully on the ground, falling into utter helplessness. Unbelievable, it successfully evolved. The giant snake was gradually moving closer to her. She thought helplessly, "It is over. I can't stop it anymore." At this moment, familiar footsteps approached. Lin Tian's voice sounded surprising her. "Holy crap. I only remembered after coming in here, this damn factory. Isn't this the place I worked as a laborer after graduating high school? The boss of this factory still owes me a month's wages. Such bad luck, so unlucky." Seeing him, Leng Yue asked in surprise. Lin Tian, seeing she recognized him, he smiled. put his hands in his pockets, and asked about the situation. Director Liu told me to get everyone out. Where are the others? She anxiously shouted a signal to him. Run quickly. You're no match for it. It has evolved to stage 3. Hearing this, he acted as if nothing happened, raised his hand to scratch his ear, and replied, all right, I know. The rescued person just wait obediently. Okay? Dante, run around. Linten immediately stepped in front of the giant mutated python. He looked at it and spoke, surprisingly, let me see what abilities you actually have. The giant python instantly opened its mouth wide, attacking him as if wanting to swallow him whole. Seeing this, Leng Yue screamed helplessly. Linten run quickly. At this moment, a bolt of lightning shot out. He smiled smugly, standing there with 2 attributes surrounding him, using lightning S-peak to shatter darkness. Immediately after, he decisively charged straight at the python and landed a punch on its head, startling it. It fell back painfully due to his powerful punch. Leng Yue was confused at this moment, not understanding what happened, nor expecting him to have such dominating power. The giant mutated python saw the situation was bad and quickly planned to escape. Realizing its plan, she quickly shouted a signal to him. Linten Dante let it escape. He gently drew the sword from his back, smiled, and reassured her, Don't worry. Today, it has nowhere to run. He smugly held the sword, preparing to strike the python right in front of him. His eyes stared forward furiously. Thunderclap, slash, Pili, Yijan. Just like that, Linten landed an incredibly powerful blow on the giant mutated python. Immediately after, he dominantly sheathed his sword and declared, it is done. Leng Yue realized something at this moment. She looked at him confusedly and asked, could it be dual attribute awakening? He glanced at her and fell into thought. According to my memories, this Spiritual Energy Cultivation Association has never done anything bad. They only help ordinary people get through difficult times, so telling them should probably be fine. He nodded in confirmation to her and recounted, I have now awakened 2 attributes, lightning and fire Leng. Yue heard these words confirmed by him and gaped, unable to believe her eyes. He will definitely be a super expert in the future. Very quickly, several hours passed. The moon was now high in the sky. Leng Yue's voice sounded. Director Linten personally admitted it. She sat opposite Liu Ying and recounted. He awakened 2 attribute types, lightning and fire. Hearing this, the old man pondered something hesitantly, then slowly spoke. No wonder he said not to follow him anymore. Although various calculations appeared in his mind, a slight smile touched his face. This kind of talent must join the Spiritual Energy Cultivation Association. She raised her hot teacup and asked in surprise, Director, so will we still monitor him in the future? He suddenly spoke to Leng Yue girl. You should also find a boyfriend. Hearing this, she looked up at him in surprise with confused eyes. In the meeting, a voice addressed Liu Ying Director. Liu, regarding the spiritual energy revival, let S announce it publicly. The handsome guy beside him immediately suggested, recently troubles are increasing, seemingly unstoppable. We can just keep assuming everything is an accident, right? Someone from security retorted, are you crazy? Announcing this kind of thing hastily, do you know how much trouble it will cause, it one to be solved with just a few scoldings then? Hearing these words, the handsome guy frowned slightly and replied, you still have the face to talk about this. If we could announce the spiritual energy matter yesterday, incident at the factory, we could have completely evacuated the citizens in time. The man dressed in police uniform also angrily questioned, the factory incident, didn't we resolve it in the end? Hearing these words, both sides immediately stood up and started shouting accusations at each other. You resolved it. Wasn't it solved by the kids you called? Seeing this, the other side angrily retorted, what did you say? Liu Ying, who had been sitting aside listening thoughtfully, slowly spoke to advise, all right, stop arguing. Seeing this, the two gently spoke, Director Liu, Director. He gently ordered the young man beside him. Little Li, sit down, sit down. He then immediately voiced his thoughts. You are right, if not for little brother Linten helping out last night. Not only would I have lost my daughter and subordinate, but the surrounding citizens would also have met disaster. He stood up and declared to everyone present, however, as our members have said, if we hastily let everyone know about the spiritual energy revival, it will definitely cause large-scale social chaos. Therefore, I have a suggestion. Liu Ying then used his pointer towards the map and explained his idea to everyone. The areas I have marked are places where spiritual energy revival has recently occurred. We can choose these areas as test points. We can promote these areas as tourist spots, assess the effectiveness, and then consider the next step. What does everyone think? Hearing this, both sides immediately understood and nodded, voicing their opinions. All right, let us follow Director Liu's idea. Let us give it a try. Truly worthy of being the director to think of such a clever solution. He continued holding a book and announced to everyone present, well, if there are no objections to this matter, let us discuss the next item. Hearing this, everyone immediately opened their reports to review. His voice echoed around the meeting room. You all witnessed little brother Linten's strength. Yesterday, I want to invite him to join the Spiritual Energy Cultivation Association. On everyone's table was Linten's file. He continued speaking. Invite him to be the captain of a cultivation team. I wonder what everyone thinks. Hearing this, neither side agreed with the other. They voiced their own opinions. Director Liu, I don't object to letting him join, but assigning him such a high position right after joining isn't that a bit much. Little Li beside him also nodded in confirmation. That's right. No one gets appointed deputy minister level right after joining. Must definitely start from the basics. Liu Jing stood there nodding, understanding everyone's point. His strength, everyone witnessed it yesterday. He's awakened with two attributes, lightning and fire. Worried that if we assign him too low a position, not only will it make him unhappy, but someone with such ability absolutely cannot be offended. Little Li heard these words and nodded in understanding. Then he proposed an idea. If Director Liu says so, please arrange a test for him. Director. The security team captain also proposed his idea, that's right, arrange a test for him. To become a cultivation team captain requires more than just strength. Hearing this, Liu Ying laughed in surprise. Oh, you guys said this, Don, to regret it later. The scene shifts to another place where Linten lives. Sunlight gradually reached the room, waking him from his deep sleep on the bed. Feeling strange movements outside, he quickly sat up and thought worriedly, could there be a thief in the house? Thinking of this, he instantly became furious and went outside wearing armor, extremely angry. Damn it, I am so poor now. I eat the cheapest instant noodles. And you still dare to steal from me. Just wait until I catch you. I'll definitely make him understand his mistake. He headed towards the kitchen, angrily opened the door, and yelled, Audacious thief! Hurry up and bow your head to admit your mistake. Seeing him appear, Leng Wei greeted him in surprise. Hi. Linten saw her right in front of him and quickly raised his hand in reply. Hi. Suddenly, he remembered something. He angrily questioned her. Wait, why are you in my house? Didn't you say yesterday you wouldn't follow me anymore? She slowly picked up the instant noodle boxes he had discarded and explained, I didn't come to follow you. I came to live together. Where's the trash can? Linten heard these words from her mouth and froze on the spot, unsure what to say. A moment later, after sitting down and explaining everything, his voice asked her, So you guys want me to participate in some kind of challenge? She nodded in confirmation. Hearing this, he sighed, looked up and thought, calculating the time, there are only 3 days left until the spiritual energy completely erupts. Can T waste time on that challenge? He shook his head and replied to her, Not going, I am. Not interested. Leng Yue calmly explained everything to him. Linten, I know you definitely think this challenge will slow down your cultivation, but this is a challenge the association specially prepared for cultivators. She continued sitting there recounting everything. Not only new members will participate, also the challenge location recently experienced a spiritual energy revival phenomenon. Although the level isn't high, there might be some opportunities. Hearing these persuasive words, he hesitated thoughtfully. I remember. She said Yuching also joined this organization. His eyes half closed. He asked her, Let me ask you one question, is Yuching participating in this challenge? She thought for a moment, then nodded and told him, She will also go. Why? Hearing this, Linten hesitated thoughtfully. I remember she mentioned encountering a great opportunity there. I wonder what it could be. Soon after, he hesitated, then decided, Let us go check it out this time. He turned to her and agreed. It just so happens I need to find her for something. I'll participate in the challenge this time. Elsewhere, Liu Ying announced to all the competition participants in front of him, "You might be used to a peaceful life." His face stern, he continued, "But I want to tell you the whole world will soon no longer be peaceful. At that time, death will become commonplace." Yuching was focused, listening to what he was saying. "In a moment, I will introduce to you a powerful spiritual energy cultivator who will be your captain, leading you in this challenge." Li Qi stood there, still lost in her own thoughts. Where exactly did that person go? Then she surprisingly questioned her captain. I really saw and awakened. His whole body emitted lightning. Her captain immediately replied angrily, "What are you talking about? How could there be such a powerful spiritual energy cultivator? You must have seen wrong." At this moment, a muscular young man approached her and asked Sister Qi, "What are you thinking about?" She shook her head, sighed, and replied dismissively, "Nothing, just wondering what kind of captain we'll be getting." Hearing her words, the young man sighed and said, "Captain must be some rich kid coming here just to pass the time." Then he smugly showed off his muscles to everyone. "Wait till that brat arrives, I'll teach him a lesson. Let him know who really has authority here." Seeing this, people around immediately cheered. Top Big Brother. Big Brother is too cool. Li Qi saw this scene and immediately distanced herself. "I advise you to behave yourself. Don't cause trouble anymore." Elsewhere, Leng Yue introduced while walking with Linten. "This is the team you will lead. Total of 5 people, 2 females and 3 males." At this point, she pointed to one person on the screen and warned him, "You need to pay attention to this person named Liu Tianfang. He used to be a gangster henchman, unexpectedly awakened the wind attribute spiritual energy, but his personality remains the same, very difficult to control." He nodded in response. Got it. Seeing he had appeared, Liu Ying immediately announced, "Your captain has arrived." Linten slowly and dominantly walked over. Seeing this, Yuching thought in surprise, "Isn't he the person my dad said saved me?" Li Qi, seeing this scene from the side, was confused. "It's him? The person struck by lightning on the mountain that day." Liu Ying pointed towards him and introduced him to everyone. "This is your captain, Linten, next." Before he could finish, Liu Tianfang's voice rang out, "Wait." Director Liu looked at him slightly annoyed and asked Liu Tianfang, "Do you have a problem?" He replied with a mocking laugh, "Director Liu, what is this brat's strength like? Shouldn't you let us test a few moves?" He laughed smugly and continued taunting, "Otherwise, if we brothers go in, who listens to whom?" Hearing these words, Linten chuckled and replied to him, "Oh, how do you intend to show off?" A malicious smile formed on his face. "Of course, we have to test our strength against our brothers." Seeing this, Linten asked Liu Tianfang with some disdain, "A piece of trash like you at the first stage springing fountain realm is worthy of fighting me." Hearing this, Liu Tianfang instantly became furious. He yelled frantically, "Brat, are you looking for death?" Immediately after, without saying much, he charged straight at Linten to attack. Seeing this, Linten asked with some disdain, "Is that all?" Before the fist could get close to him, Liu Ying quickly intervened and blocked it, his face extremely angry. He coldly warned Liu Tianfang, "Do you dare disobey the organization's orders?" Seeing Director Liu intervene, Liu Tianfang quickly stepped back and explained, "Director Liu, I didn't mean that, but to be captain, one must have some strength, right?" Then he immediately turned towards his underlings behind him. "Otherwise, we brothers won. To be convinced, right?" The guys behind immediately crossed their arms, looking at Linten with judgmental eyes. "That's right, Director Liu. We cultivators must prioritize strength." Another person immediately spoke up. "If this new captain can prove his strength, it is really hard to convince us." Hearing this, Liu Ying slowly announced to everyone, "Little brother Linten's strength, you don't need to worry. Just a few days ago, he single-handedly defeated the dark giant Python and saved Leng Yue." Hearing these words, Li Qi was extremely confused and surprised, asking what he alone saved Sister Leng. Liu Tianfang didn't quite believe this and immediately retorted, "I think he definitely just relied on luck. The dark giant Python is so strong, how could he possibly defeat it alone?" Liu Ying continued announcing to everyone present, "All right, everyone stand properly. Anyone else disrupting the challenge rules, I will directly expel them from the association. Everyone must behave. Next, I will announce the content of the challenge. Everyone listen carefully. A terrifying image of monsters slowly appeared. He slowly recounted. The content of this challenge is to deal with a creature called the Thorn monster beast. According to the information the association has gathered, this creature not only has a human form, but can also move freely. Hearing this, everyone was surprised into silence, listening to everything he said. Before entering the challenge, I want to remind everyone of one thing. Perhaps, before everyone thought this world was very safe. But I want to tell everyone. Liu Ying's face instantly became serious. When you step onto this path of cultivation, death will always accompany you. Elsewhere, Linten's group quickly entered the forest to take action. He observed the surroundings and fell into thought. This is the designated location for the challenge. Where are the monsters? Have they hidden underground? At this moment, Yuching asked him in surprise, Captain Lin, do we have to go through there? He looked at the yellow streams of spiritual energy on the strange tree in front, a thought appearing in his mind. The spiritual energy is stronger near the large tree. But why can't I find the monster Director Liu mentioned after searching for so long? Linten walked closer to the giant tree and voiced his thoughts. For safety, we still shouldn't get too close to that large tree. He glanced towards the two girls behind him and instructed, continue searching for clues about the monster around here. Hearing this, the two girls nodded in understanding. Yes, Captain Lin. Right then, Liu Tianfang immediately taunted him. Captain Lin Arin, you scared? Could it be you? We're afraid that large tree will rise from the ground and attack you. Seeing this, the people around burst out laughing, clutching their stomachs. Hilarious. Brother Liu. Hearing this, Linten stared intently at him and replied, surprisingly, I warned you already. If you insist on not listening to advice, you bear the consequences yourself. Seeing this, Liu Tianfang turned to leave, not forgetting to turn back and mock him. I want to see what strange thing is over there exactly. Soon after, the three stood before the large ancient tree emitting this yellow light. His surprised voice rang out. This large tree, could it be some kind of treasure? Why does it have such strong spiritual energy? At this moment, one of his underlings recounted Big Brother. The spiritual energy here is really abundant. If we cultivate here, we'll definitely level up. Seeing this, he also thought smugly, if I absorb all the spiritual energy here and successfully advance to the third stage springing fountain realm, even Leng Yue will have to listen to me then. His face showed an extremely perverted expression as he imagined the scene of three beautiful girls surrounding him in his embrace. He laughed loudly with delight. Brothers, while the spiritual energy is abundant, cultivate immediately. Just like that, these three madmen sat by the large ancient tree focused on cultivating, ignoring Lin Tian. Seeing this scene, Yuching turned back slightly surprised and asked, Lin Tian, Captain Lin, will they be all right? He walked forward and reassured her. No need to worry. If there really is a problem, I will intervene. Right then, Li Qi ran closer to him and asked Captain Lin, did we meet a few days ago? Hearing this, he looked at her with some curiosity. She continued recounting, was it the mountain struck by lightning I remember now? Hearing this, he asked her back curiously, really, I don't recall anything, where was it? Soon after, Lin Tian immediately remembered the three people walking together that evening. Then he turned back surprised and asked her, oh, so it was you. Were you having a picnic there that day? Li Qi heard his words and instantly became angry, recounting everything. Picnic what that day I had to go resolve the lightning spiritual energy outbreak. It is all because of you. Captain Lin that I got scolded by my superiors for several hours. Then she stood there angrily voicing all her frustration. I told them I saw a man absorbing lightning spiritual energy, but they kept saying I was dreaming. Hearing this, Lin Tian thoughtfully replied to her, sorry. Immediately after he sensed something and instructed the two girls in front of him, you two sit down and cultivate too. The spiritual energy here is so abundant like this. Hearing this, Yuching turned back slightly surprised and asked him, aren't you cultivating? He looked towards her, smiled, and thought, she is still the same as in the previous life, so gentle. He smiled and replied, the spiritual energy here isn't suitable for my attributes. You guys cultivate first. Hearing this, Li Qi immediately intended to reply something. Then Before she could finish, a screaming voice rang out. Big brother, help. Hearing these words, Linten promptly reacted, turning his head to assess the situation. That is, the three young men were being lifted high by the giant treeus branches, unable to struggle. Liu Tianfang saw this and trembled with fear. He wondered aloud in confusion. What is happening? Why are these branches suddenly moving like this? The voice of one underling screamed fearfully, Big brother, save me! I don't want to die. Hearing this, he quickly drew his knife and decided to fight the giant ancient tree. I am coming to help you. Immediately after, he charged straight forward, preparing to attack the monster. Soon after, Liu Tianfang decisively slashed straight towards the giant tree. Suddenly he was startled, realizing something was wrong. How can this be? The underling quickly yelled a signal. Big brother, careful on the left. Hearing these words, he hurriedly turned to his left to check the situation. But it was too late. A branch immediately attacked from below towards his face, sending him falling backward hard. Another branch attacked towards him. At this moment, he could only think helplessly. When everyone steps onto this path of cultivation, death will always accompany them. No wonder Director Liu said that. At this moment, he fell painfully hard onto the ground. He thought helplessly, will I die here? The tree spirit was slowly approaching this fierce young man, preparing to absorb and mince him. Immediately after, a large beam of light attacked straight towards these giant ancient trees. Liu Tianfang raised his head, saw Linten shielding him, and was slightly surprised. Linten stood straight in front of him and instructed, Go quickly! Liu Tianfang sat helplessly on the ground and said, I can abandon my brothers and run away. Linten heard these words, turned back surprised, and replied, Looks like you are still quite loyal. Liu Tianfang looked at him somewhat indignantly. Nonsense, men living outside must know loyalty, right? Linten slowly picked up Liu Tianfang's knife from the ground and thought, Infuse lightning fire attribute energy into this knife. Immediately after, the knife emitted an extremely strange and powerful white energy. Seeing this, Tianfang asked him, slightly surprised, What are you doing? Linten decisively threw the knife hard towards the giant tree monster. Immediately after, the knife gently cut the branches binding the two underlings. One helplessly screamed, Big brother, Captain Lin, thank you both for saving me. Seeing this, the tree suddenly screamed something extremely strange. Linten approached the giant tree and instructed everyone, Go quickly, this monster is about to reveal its true form. Immediately after, the ground suddenly shook, making everyone surprised and panikedly shout, What's happening? Is it an earthquake? Just as he said, the monster completely revealed its true form. It was the third stage, springing fountain, realm, monster, the ghost tree demon. Yohun Shu Yao, it rose immensely large from the ground, terrifying everyone. Liu Tianfang saw this scene and screamed in fear, What exactly is this monster? Linten prepared for battle stance. He slowly said to everyone, Have you forgotten what Director Liu told you? This path of cultivation is destined to be 9 deaths, 1 life. His face extremely serious. He stared intently at the tree demon right in front. If you fear death, then leave this path. Right. Then it launched an attack, charging straight at him. It swung its giant fist towards him, but he easily dodged it. Seeing this, it didn't give up continuously attacking Linten, but our protagonist easily dodged each one. Seeing none of its hits landed, it immediately switched to a stronger move. Dozens of branches shot straight towards him, intending to bind him. But Linten seemed completely unafraid of this scene, his face extremely serious. Then he used his fire attribute to burn away the branches approaching him. Because it was a tree, it was immediately engulfed by his flames, causing it some fear and making it retreat. Feeling it wasn't enough, he clenched his fist, held it in front of him, and decided to use a skill, Thunder Flame Fist, Lei Yan Quan. He leaped high into the air, preparing to attack it. At this point, the tree demon knew it was no match for this human and tried to flee frantically. But running was useless. It was hit by an incredibly powerful punch from him, causing it to scream frantically. Seeing this, Liu Tianfang's group gaped and shouted in surprise, Damn! Yes, actually, that strong Li Qi saw this scene, also extremely surprised, and wondered aloud, This is the power of someone who awakened a star attribute. Only Yuching blushed, looking at him thinking, The great heroes in novels walking on 5 colored clouds. It must be like this. Linten stood in the air observing the whole situation. At this point, he had completely defeated the tree demon monster with just one punch. All his actions were recorded by surveillance cameras. The security personnel on the other end observed and quickly discussed animatedly. This person named Linten actually has such power. Yuching was extremely pleased, crossed his arms and asked everyone, "Does anyone still have opinions about Linten's captain position?" One person immediately spoke up quickly. Nothing. We all follow. Director Liu's words. Immediately after, there was movement nearby, startling everyone into panicked shouts. What is happening? An earthquake. Leng Yue saw the situation was bad, surprisingly approached him and asked Director Liu, "This spiritual energy, could it be?" He thought for a moment and replied, "It seems this matter can no longer be hidden." His face became extremely serious. He slowly recounted everything. Earth's spiritual energy has fully recovered. The rules of the world are about to change. On the system screen, analysis of the tree demon monster was displayed. Linten stared intently at the tree demon monster's information right before him and thought, "In my previous life, Yuching said there was an opportunity here. Isn't she an ice attribute? This monstrous tree is a wood attribute." Right then, an extremely strange white light suddenly appeared on the tree demon monster's body in front of everyone. Seeing this, everyone was confused, not understanding what strange thing was happening. "So that's how it is." Linten looked confusedly at the ice attribute right in front, then understood everything. Because Earth's spiritual energy has completely recovered. Powerful ice attribute spiritual energy appeared here. Yuching in the previous life lacked the strength, so she couldn't absorb this spiritual energy. That is why she said that. Yuching looked astonished at the ice attribute right before her eyes and exclaimed, in admiration, "Captain Lin is too amazing." One punch caused the surrounding spiritual energy to explode. Linten looked towards her and instructed, "Go into that cave to absorb the erupting ice attribute spiritual energy. This spiritual energy can help you become stronger." Hearing this, she blushed and nodded in agreement. "Okay." He glanced seriously towards her, then focused his thoughts. "Yuching, in this life, both of us must become strong. Make that dog couple who harmed us in the previous life pay dearly." Immediately after, he turned back to inform everyone else, "Powerful ice attribute spiritual energy has appeared here. Coincidentally, Yuching also awakened the ice attribute. So I let her take the opportunity to cultivate here. Let us wait for her a bit." Everyone nodded in confirmation and agreement. Very quickly, time shifted to the evening. Delicious, simple dishes were presented before everyone. Everyone gathered together, raised their glasses, and happily cheered. Congratulations to Yuching for successfully breaking through the first stage springing fountain realm and entering the third stage springing fountain realm. She shyly held up her glass, smiled, and replied, "All this success is thanks to Captain Lin and everyone." Liu Tianfang also became more timid, holding a bottle of wine as he approached Linten. "Captain Lin, previously I was blind and didn't recognize Mount Tai. I hope you can generously forgive my mistakes." Linten nodded while eating and replied to him, "It's okay. During the crisis you didn't abandon your brothers to flee. That proves you are loyal and brave, a true man." Hearing this, Liu Tianfang was immediately moved and bowed to him. "Captain Lin, thank you for considering a commoner like me a friend. From now on, my life, Liu Tianfang S, belongs to you." Linten was somewhat speechless and replied, "No need for that. From now on, we are all brothers together." Before he could finish his sentence, someone quickly announced loudly, "Everyone leave here immediately."